This is the Creative Creatures podcast. Today I've got Sam Zito, stand-up comedian, former member of Swag on the Beat. How you going, dude?
Yeah, good, thanks. Good to be here. How are you?
I'm all right. It's been a long weekend, so keen to get into it.
Yeah, for sure.
So Swag on the Beat, I thought let's start there.
Mm-hmm.
You and your mates, I assume, starting off doing little videos and skits for Instagram, TikTok, and
it wasn't serious at all at the start. We sort of started just filming. We just downloaded TikTok, the app, and started filming in Woolworths, just random sketches. And then I think we got kicked out of Woolworths, and we just posted them. And then the next day, we woke up and a bunch went viral. This was like right during COVID. You know when everyone was taking the toilet paper?
Yeah.
So we just went there to check it out and then started filming about that, I think.
So make a bit of a joke out of it, kind of
Yeah,
thing.
I think we filmed about that. And then a couple of videos did all right. We thought it was viral, but looking back, it probably wasn't. It was just doing all right. And then we just started doing that again. And then we just thought we had a bit of momentum. We just kept posting every week for like a year or two. And then it started doing well after that.
And so there's the three of you and all of you were keen on making that first video. Did it take anyone any coaxing or like?
Well, it was a bit like, it was, we were all keen. We just didn't actually think much of it. We didn't think anyone would see it. But I think when it started going viral, we were a bit hesitant. I think all three of us, because we all were at uni and trying to do professional careers. Like I was a teacher, Jack was studying psychology, and Isaac was studying commerce. And it was like a lot of the videos, like I'm in my undies or we're all doing something stupid. We're not necessarily swearing or saying anything bad. We're quite clean, but it was more like how do you be a teacher? Like for me, it's like, how do you be a teacher when these kids have seen you in your underwear already? It's like, and not like a Robert Irwin type of underwear, like me with my gut out.
You could pull that off.
Like me with my gut out in the street in my underwear. It's like, yeah, dude.
Right.
How do people respect you? How do kids respect you? Yeah.
And were you guys like drama students or film students at any stage or like?
Not at all. But like, I remember me and Isaac, we used to make YouTube videos. They were probably terrible, but as a kid when we were like 12 or 13, but never drama. I don't know. Yeah.
Comedy ones back then too? Or
I
like
reckon
Jackass or something?
they weren't funny though. Yeah, but it was more to just like, we're just like fucking around, just having fun. I think we like making videos, but never, it was interesting actually. It's an interesting question. Never acting, never drama, nothing like that. More sporty.
So it sort of came naturally. And so you've known those guys for a while. How did you meet them?
At school, in year 7, just when we were like 12, just hang out. I think we started going surfing as well, a bit like that. And, just had similar interests, similar hobbies. We all played sport, and then sort of it just went from there.
And close ever since. And okay. And were you guys like? I see in the Swag and the Beat videos, like there's like a house with a lot of time. There's some Volvo.
That was Thornbury. We just used to we used to be in a share house. Me and Isaac lived together, and Jack would sort of just drive down the road. But yeah, it was like a share house. It was pretty old, like pretty fallen down. But it was good to film in. It was huge, big backyard. We had a skate ramp in the backyard, and it was pretty big. But yeah, it was perfect to film in because it was like just different rooms, huge. We'd always film either out the front or in the backyard or in the house.
And you said you guys were sporty. Was the Swag on the Beat team like clearly was there comedy going on before the cameras were rolling? Were you guys doing funny things to your mates, the family in the lounge room, or?
Yeah, I think we're trying to be funny to mates. Like we're trying to make each other laugh, and then that's what we sort of captured on camera. But yeah, it was. I don't think I had the confidence to do comedy until the videos went well. I'd never be like, oh, I'll do comedy. I'll be a comedian. I was like, I'll just try and make people mad. I think we initially made them just to show our mates.
Right.
And then we just posted them. Like it was very much humor for the same friendship group. And then we just posted. Because initially it was quite weird. And then we also went a bit more relatable and a bit more like wider. But initially the videos, I mean, they still keep them a bit weird and a bit like different. But yeah, it was just initially to make our friends laugh.
Geez, you've come a long way then if you've just come back from the comedy festival and and all right. And so do you think that's one of the keys of getting a good like skit or sketch is like a relatable issue? Is that?
I think so, but I think there's so much relatable stuff that you always want to take your own spin on it.
Yeah.
Like you want to be a little bit different. Like definitely have like a joke at the end or throughout. But yeah, I think being relatable definitely captures people, but then you got to have like a good joke as well. Even being a bit different. I see a lot of social media that's just like weird. And sometimes videos make no sense and they pop off though.
So do you think that it's more because you guys are based in Melbourne, is the Melbourne audience bigger because it's more relatable to Melburnians, or I don't know, have you seen the stats or the
I
audience?
think so. I definitely now make videos that are more Melbourne based, but I think with swag, we made everything like, especially at the start, just all like wider towards Australia. I don't think we even meant to. We just like felt like, oh, we'll make something that everyone sort of enjoys instead of having a few Melbourne references. But I think Melbourne definitely enjoys being creative more than other suburbs. I think Melbourne's a bit more part of that. And I think, but then again, you do comedy in Brisbane or somewhere else and they do love it. But I think Melbourne jumps on stuff very quickly.
Okay. I think the first time I became aware of swag on the beat was maybe the Eshe one, or maybe the construction, like the Apprentice's First Day. Do you think that there was a single one that like put you guys on the map? Was there?
Yeah, they were quite big. So the Eshe one and then also the COVID. There were a bunch about COVID. Like we had this one that we did about a rat test and it was a video that got maybe like 15 million views or something. It was about selling rat tests like they were drugs because no one could get like rat tests.
Yeah.
There was a stage when we couldn't do that. And then we also did a bunch, man, just about like before and after COVID, just like making it super ridiculous. But some of the characters blew up, like a hipster, Eshe, tradies, like that stuff blew up. I think what we did was we just found like different ideas or different characters. Yeah. Like had like by the end of it, we had like a dad video as well. And like had like a dad character, and we'd do those characters, and then you just put those characters in different scenarios.
I was going to say about the characters. You guys seem to have your own ones, and did that become obvious by people's sort of strengths in comedy or what they were like in real life, or how do you guys come up with? I noticed you were often like wearing wigs, or you're like the girlfriend and stuff. Yeah,
I think it's more just based off like things we've seen. Like I think we've also worked on work sites, so like a lot of those tradies are like really tough or like mumble a lot, or they're always smoking. Like you notice that they always have a cigarette. That's what we base a few of the videos off. And then some of them like mates' dads or like, you know, people we've seen at like the Eshe is just one we've seen at a station.
But between the group, the three of you, like how did you delegate? Was there clashes of who's going to play who, or was it like looking at you and being like, Isaac, you're an Eshe dude?
It was sort of good. It was whoever is best at playing it. Like Isaac was just great at playing the Eshe. Or Jack was good with some of the tradie stuff or the dad stuff. Whereas I was like I'd play that tradie that smoked and mumbled just because I could do that deeper voice. But it was kind of easy. It was kind of whoever played that character best. Like,
and so did you have like little tries? Was there times where different members of Swag on the Beat would try out the character and be like, dude, I can't do it? Like,
yeah, a lot of the time I would try the character and not be able to do it, and it'd be hard. Like, yeah, we'd all come together. We'd like write a script. Like we'd have an idea and then we'd come and write the script, and then we'd act out in front of each other. Like imagine this room, but it's like the share house.
Yeah.
And we'd all act out like with each other, like bounce off each other who could play that character well. And then whoever played it well would be good. Like we had that emo character as well that Jack played, and he was really good at that. But like, and he would full get dressed up with eyeliner and like we'd do that. And it was just whoever could play that character more. It's usually someone who drew more inspiration from like, I know someone who's like this. Okay. Or I went to high school with someone with like that was like this, and then you can be like, oh, I'll play that character. Basics. But no, it's quite easy. And it's best to do it that way, and then the video does well. Like it's like if whoever plays it best is more likely for the video to do well.
Okay. Yeah. And you were a teacher before all this happened, and are you still a teacher?
I'm trying not to go back to it, but I substitute teach PE.
Right.
Yeah, which was hard when it was starting to blow up. Kids would recognize me. I had to move from high school to primary school, so less kids would recognize me.
And was that decision a bit scary or something? Or like things are going, I imagine you're getting like, I know you're getting notifications, your phone's sort of going crazy.
Yeah, it was a bit like, it was more like, there was definitely a stage where I was like, I need this to take off or comedy to take off because I'm at a point where I can't do teaching full time.
Yeah.
Like I went to a job interview once. My mate got me this job interview, and Swag on the Beat was kind of blowing up, and like the videos are blowing up. And my mate was like, they know about the videos. They're going to question you on it, and you probably won't get the job. So I didn't show up to the interview anyway. But right. I was just like, oh, and it wasn't even a strict school. They're like, yeah, they're going to question you on it. I'm like, it just was a point where I was like, I needed to take off because I probably won't be able to be a full-time teacher. I'll be able to substitute, but not full-time teacher.
Because it took up so much time to do Swag on the Beat?
I think that, yes. But there was a point where it was like, schools won't hire me.
Right.
Because it was like, I'm doing this, not crazy. Swag on the Beat was never crazy or anything. It was more that I'm like, you're putting yourself out there. And I kind of get it from schools. It's like, how are the kids meant to respect you or take you seriously when you're doing these stupid sketches online.
Yeah, okay. And how did it initially like generate income? Like, was there a point where you were getting a lot of attention and views and all that kind of thing, but it wasn't generating income? Or?
Yeah, there definitely was a point. We all worked on the side, but the thing about Australia, there's no TikTok creator fund. So you've got to do like ads for like, we do ads for companies. Sometimes we would write the ads and they would post it, or we would post it as well.
Right.
And the thing about that is you don't want to do too many because you look like you sell out. And also there's not heaps of opportunities. So you do an ad for like Pepsi and then they would pay you and you do maybe one a month or something. And then we saved up our money from doing ads and then also working on the side. And then we went, okay, we can do this full time. And then also you can do things like sell merch. Like a lot of stand-ups do that as well. You can sell merch on the side, which is another income. And then you tour doing a live show. There's like, I think with like comedy and doing social media and that you need multiple streams of income, multiple revenues. You can't just be like, I'm just going to do ads or I'm just going to do stand. It's so hard these days to make a full-time job. But yeah, it took a while, took a few years.
How did you get those, like to rep those companies or those ads? Were you like reaching out to them or were they?
Initially we didn't want to do one for a while, but they would reach out to us. So one, they would reach out to us. And then two, we also had an agency who would help us sort of get those ads. Yeah, so they would reach out to us and then we would pass them on to the agency, do all the admin and be like, this is what you have to do. Or that agency, because they had connections with all these bigger brands, they would bring it to you.
And did you guys have complete control of the scripts when it was, or was there like certain things that you had to do? Or it was?
I think it's like one of those things that it was like compromise, but you can always say no. So like we would have, it depends on different creators and different content creators, but we would never be like, it was never like we would sell something straight off. It's like we want to control, whereas like here's a sketch that we have that we wanted to do or we wrote around it. And I'm like, here, and then we want the product. And we can say, our thing was like, we can say in the description what you guys want to say. We'll tag the brand and we can say maybe one line, but we want it to be a funny sketch that people would enjoy rather than just being like, here's like the Manscaped shaver, just buy that, you know? Whereas like we want it to be our normal content where we're promoting the brand. But you could compromise. We'd be like, hey, we don't want to do all this stuff, but we'll say this line and we'll type this line and maybe we'll have a super at the end, like a credit. But like, and a lot of brands would be like, no. And that would be like, fair enough, we don't align. Yeah. You know, you might want to go with it, like another, and that was completely fine. I think communication helps.
So were many of them throwing you like storyboards or like do this sketch? This would be funny.
Yeah, a lot of companies were, and it wasn't that funny.
So a lot of the time you were like, nah, can't do that.
Yeah, a lot. Not to be harsh, but yeah, a lot of it was like 50-year-old like blokes just haven't done content before. They were funny blokes, but they hadn't done content. And we were just like, yeah, we can do this, man, but it won't do that well. Like it doesn't make sense and it won't do that well. But yeah, a lot of it, they're like marketing corporate 50-year-olds that are like running the company. Yeah. And these aren't like startups, these are big companies like, you know, like they were great. Most companies were very easy to work with. Like pretty
I suppose if they're a company that wants to work with you, they're gonna have like that element of humor and like edginess to actually want to do it, even if they're not kind of prepared for it. It's one of the things that I find fascinating because I've spent my entire career in advertising. In advertising, we do like similar things, you know, creating creative videos, but like for TV, it's a very structured process. Yeah. There's very structured budgets, storyboarding, pre-production process, documents, meetings, all this kind of thing. So I'm curious to find out like, how do you guys do that process? Does it start with conversation, storyboarding, mind mapping? Like how does the process
in terms of like coming up with a sketch idea?
Yeah, from Swag on the Beat.
We like I would, even now or before, I would write up an idea. I'd write up a list of all these ideas, a Word document with like say 200 ideas of sketches, and then all three of us would pick which ones we thought were funny. Right. And then we would go off and write up the script for that idea. So like, the idea would have like, here's the setup, here's the punchline, here's something else, maybe the environment where we film it or what we would wear, like, or just like another bit of it. And then we would go off and write up a script. Right. And the script wasn't always 100%, it would be loose. And then we would come together and then act it out and then film it basically. And then go home and edit and then come back and do any changes. But yeah, it takes more time than you would have thought. But basically brainstorming at home and then coming together and brainstorming together.
Right. So people, and you're sort of delegating, like this member does different sketches.
Yeah. Or like, it was different with like, we kind of did what was good at stuff. Like we all did everything, but then there was parts where we all did more of one thing, if that makes sense. Like I would do more of the writing.
Okay.
Isaac did most of the editing and Jack did most of the business sort of stuff. But Jack and Isaac and me also, like Jack would also do a lot of the writing. Isaac would do the writing as well, or would some of it, you know, the script. And then, you know, we would do all the posting and come together on other stuff. So yeah, we had different roles, but then we would also help each other on those roles. So we all collaborated like that.
And with the editing, it's just sort of on a phone app and stuff like that, or is
the editing was on like Premiere,
okay.
or even like even now I do iMovie. iMovie can be good.
Yeah.
Like it's so easy to do a 1 minute or 30-second sketch. Like you don't actually have to do too much. Like film on a good quality phone. Like even get a newer iPhone with a good camera, and then edit on like an okay software. You don't have to edit on anything too high. Like it's more for social media. You want to get it viral.
Yeah, when I've done content creation for brands and stuff, I end up with so much footage. And a part of it's kind of 2 different takes, unsure which one to use. So I'll keep both of them, or maybe film, you know, a crowded mall, and you're like, oh, later on we might want to film in a crowded mall. Is there stuff like that going on where you guys have like heaps of content filling up your memory cards and everything?
Yeah.
Or are you guys so planned and you kind of, what happens with your you kind of archiving things? It's such a raw platform. It's hard to like understand how you guys would manage.
Well, I think even now I do it, but like I think you just over film, make sure you get everything, put the video together, and then just delete the stuff. Once you got the video, it's posted, it's gone okay, hopefully. You just delete all of it. But yeah, we over film. I can film because you're there, especially if you're in public, you've written it, you're like, let's get this extra angle, let's get this extra line, let's try this again. And then over film it, and then just pay the extra $5 for the Google Drive stuff, or just get a disc or something, or USB. Just get the extra stuff, and because it sucks. Early days we used to film stuff and be like, man, we stuffed that up, and then we got to go back to this trade site that we asked our mate who's a chippy to lend us the site for an hour, and it's like it's so hard. Once you do it, you're like, I want to film everything, so we don't have to drive back out here. But we over film stuff all the time.
Okay, I think it seems like one of the like genius parts. So it seems like comic genius, but I wonder how much of this is just like what feels right. Some of the just the nuances, the reactions, close-ups of people's expressions, and like sometimes I feel like it's like fisheye or something like that. Is that stuff planned ahead of time when you're doing the writing, or is it just on the day, like, oh, let's try something?
I reckon most of it's on the day trying extra, but it is. It's a little bit planned because like sometimes you'll see, especially everyone does, I feel like every big creator does this on TikTok. One thing will go big or go viral, and then they'll try that thing again. Yeah, so you do learn from it, but a lot of the small stuff like going the 0.05 in the face or pulling a facial expression is just in the moment. Like, we'll definitely film extra. We'll be like, let's try something different now. Yeah. And then that'll definitely most always end up in the video.
And so then it's the editor's job to kind of later on decide what goes in.
Yeah, so like Isaac did most of the editing, but then we would all sit down around the computer and be like, let's try this. We'd all give feedback. Like, let's try this angle. Let's try this cut. Like,
and is there any, how often does a spontaneous one come up? Are you ever out together and you guys kind of were like, oh, this would be something, you know, relatable?
Yeah.
Was there much of that ever, or?
All the time, but we would write it in our notes and then come back to writing it up.
Right.
We'd never be like, let's just film something now. I think early days we were, but now we're like, let's just structure it because we want to. The good thing about with swag, or even what I'm trying to do now, is like a lot of content creators are just like, let's just post every day, like post it. Like Gary Vee says it. I'm like, I definitely get that, but I feel like it's more quality over quantity. Like you post one video a week, and sometimes it can get like 5 million views. We're either posting a video every day and it gets like, you know, 20K views. It's like, I feel like that works better, but it always is. It's different for other people. If it's like, I think that works with sketch, but if you're like trying to do like lifestyle content, and I think that's, you know, post heaps. Or if you're trying to do more authentic content, either podcasts or that, I'm like, yeah, you should post a lot. But if sketch videos, I'm like, if you post quality, it's going to go viral.
Because I was going to say, it could really consume your life. Like I can imagine it's a nice day, you got the day off, you're down the beach, sun's out, whatever, and you're kind of like, oh, this is probably a good time to do a swag on the beat sketch.
Yeah.
But so you guys kind of go, look, it's our day off, there's a funny idea over there, but we'll come back and we'll do it another time.
Oh, it definitely consumed our life. It definitely consumed. I think they were better. I struggled a bit with it. I struggled more with checking views, comments, likes, not negative comments. Like, we're actually pretty good, but just checking how things did quite well. But there was definitely times when we're like, we'll just upload one video a week, make it great. But there was also so much work behind that, whereas like, I just need better ideas. So like, to get that one video, we would write like 200, 300 ideas, for that. Like, let's pick the best one,
I know what you mean. Like, it's like with this podcast, I used to look at influencers and stuff. They're always checking their phone, checking their notifications and stuff, which is fine to do until after you start posting things and you get like consumed with like, oh, like how's this one going compared to the old one? It's a challenge you sort of have a benchmark in your head of where you want to get to. And it's really easy to fall into a trap of being consumed by that. So the same thing was happening with you.
Yeah, and it's so unhealthy.
Yeah.
That's kind of why I want to do more stand-up, really. But it's so, man, being an influencer or like being a content creator, I know the influencer word sucks, but like it's so long-term. I couldn't imagine it being healthy. Like, it'd be so bad for you.
Yeah,
like
sure.
I feel like a lot of people would be depressed.
Yeah.
Because you're always like, oh, I'm not relevant anymore. And then the next week you're like, no, I am relevant. Like, it's just one different video. Like, now it's got 5 million views. Everything. And the video itself is hardly different. It's just like people connected with it more. Yeah. And you're like, oh, now I'm going to make money again.
It's the algorithm, different days, all sorts
now
of
we'll
things
get more ads in, or I'm going to sell more tickets to stand up. Like, it's like, it's so crazy that it's like 1 week you'll be killing it. And then even the next day you're like, man, I'm going to fall off. And people do fall off and it's normal. It's
it's nothing to stress out.
No, it's more in your head rather than other people's head. There's so much content out there as well, but it's so unhealthy. It's so bad for you. It depends how you handle it. Some people handle it differently.
Yeah, I suppose if it's just water off a duck's back, it doesn't matter. But so I feel like with Swag on the Beat, there's the main thing going on, and oftentimes there's something quite creative going on in the background. You've been involved in some of these background. What are some of the things that you have done in the background?
I'm trying to think. A lot of the times I would just shadow box in the background, but I'd also do it in my undies and stuff. And I remember once, like, we were with this video didn't even get posted, but we were in Flinders Street Station. We were doing a video about parking signs. You know when you try and read a parking sign and there's just like 10 things on it?
In Melbourne, it's a disaster.
Yeah, it's crazy. We were trying to do that. We'll film it. So we found this good sign. It was like next to Flinders Street. And I was in the background in my undies. And people were just like, what the fuck? I felt like people thought I was on meth. So that's why people didn't bother me. They were like, this guy's insane. We're not going to talk to him. But yeah, I was in my undies in the background, probably shadow boxing.
So they couldn't even see the camera like near you sort of thing? Or
no, because I'm so far away. It's like, it's good. I think the background stuff is great when you can kind of see the person, but you can't see them clearly. But the camera is just an iPhone. Yeah. So, and it's across the road. So I'm shadow boxing across the street in my underwear and people just go, this guy's on meth. But yeah, I think it is crazy like that you are put in some weird situations, and I think it becomes easier when you are recognized, being like, oh, they're filming a video towards the end. But at the start, man, it was like people were like, what the fuck? These guys need to get a job. And there was another one as well that was like, it was in the middle of winter in Melbourne, and we filmed a video about something, but I was in the background face down in a pool. Right. And I reckon I almost...
Dead man's float.
Yeah, literally, yeah. And I almost got hypothermia. It was a funny video, but we didn't post it. But I almost got hypothermia and I was like, man, for that.
Why didn't the parking one get posted? That seems like
it's a really relatable concept, but I don't know. We just didn't end up posting it, yeah. Right. Okay. I think we didn't film it right. I don't even know, but yeah, something like that.
And do you try to fit in on one day of filming? Do you like bulk film? Like, here's a bunch of ideas and we're going to drive. Are you driving around the bloody city?
Yeah, driving around the city, yeah. We'll definitely have a day of like writing up maybe Zoom meetings about like ads or Zoom meetings about like something else. And then we'll have a day of like, we've all written something, we'll come together, work it out. And then now's the day that we film. Okay. And that's the day we might film 2 or 3 videos in one day and they're all written up and they're all planned. But yeah.
And is there calling ahead? I suppose you said there was like construction sites, but yeah, you're asking to sort of lend out places or bring props and stuff like that?
Yeah, there is. Like, we got to go costume shops and that. And like, yeah, which is pretty fun. It's pretty funny to claim that on tax. Actually, I got one funny story that during the live show, we would do a sketch about a PE teacher live, and he was a virgin. Okay. So, and he was teaching sex ed, but he was trying to pretend that he wasn't a virgin, and he would get out a sex doll, like a blow up sex doll. And it was like full, like a male sex doll. and I had to buy the sex dolls because at the end of the sketch we would pop them, and I had to buy sex dolls from like in bulk. Oh, not even like I'd go to the sex shop and buy the sex dolls, and I would ask for a receipt as well because we were claiming that on tax. So the guy was like, why is he asking for a receipt? I remember one time before the tour started, I bought 5 sex dolls and asked for a receipt on a Friday night. And the guy's like, he's probably having a big weekend and he's going to ask for it back. But yeah, that's probably the weirdest thing I've had to buy for. They've used it in videos and also the live show as well.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
And do you have, when you were in Swag and the Beat, was there ever a third party? Was it you guys just passing the phone around, like you film me now and then getting changed and you film me, or did there become like an entourage of people?
Not really. It was more just us 3, but we would sometimes in sketches and definitely ads, we would have our mates in the background or doing certain things just to have an environment of like a party. Like we did an ad for Canadian Club and we had to be like, they need to be like, it's a party in the backyard. I'm like, okay, we need like 10 mates.
Right, okay.
But usually filming, it was just us 3, just holding the camera. Yeah. And it's just an iPhone. So.
Yeah, okay. So I'm going to start a bit of a controversy here, but what do you think was the best Swag on the Beat? What was the best Swag on the Beat video?
That's a hard one, eh?
It's your favorite.
My favorite was actually an ad that I don't know, this isn't the best video, but it's an ad for Pilot about men's mental health. I just enjoyed the video. It was about premature ejaculation.
Okay.
And it's hard to describe a sketch, but it was about when it's about premature ejaculation and me and Isaac are setting up a party and then Jack arrives early and he says, oh no, I've came early. And we go, there's nothing wrong with coming early. And that's sort of the whole joke through it. Yeah. and I just like that sketch. But I think the ones that have done well, and that people resonate with are the Eshe ones, I reckon.
Yeah, okay. So I found some similarities between like Swag and the Beat and the Inspired Unemployed.
Oh yeah.
You guys do a lot of collabs with different people, but I don't think there's ever been one with them. Is there any beef there? Is there rivalry beef, or what had happened?
Nah, there's no beef. I think it'd be cool to do, but we've hung out with them a few times. Right. They're really nice guys.
There was never any.
There was never beef. I think we just didn't want to be like. So I remember hanging out with Jack from Inspired Unemployed at Splendor in the Grass.
Yeah.
And I think we didn't want to be like fangirling too much, you know what I mean? I didn't want to be like, let's film a video. I think we just wanted to hang out. I've ever hang out with them a couple of times, but they're really nice. And I think we just partied and drank with them. But I think if we wanted them to ask, I wanted him to ask me, not be like, yeah, let's do it. Because I feel like so many people would just ask them that. But no, they're great. They're really funny. They're great guys. They're really successful. But no, there's no beef.
They might have been thinking the same thing. Like, I hope they ask us. And no one.
Well, they were a lot bigger, especially back then. They were huge. So I was like, I feel like they didn't need that. Yeah. Okay. But that would have been cool. Hey, to film with them. Yeah, but
a good collab.
Yeah, I think they're still filming. They got TV shows and that.
Yeah,
they got the beer. The better beer is worth so much money, eh? But yeah, no, definitely drew inspiration from them. Yeah, definitely we even early days messaged them. They gave us advice. Like same with Auntie Donna and that. Yeah. Like them Mark from Auntie Donna gave us heaps of advice, came to our show and stuff.
Cool. It's good that there's like a kind of a community, I suppose.
Yeah.
And I have seen a lot of collaborations with other comedians and other content creators in Swag and the Beat videos.
Yeah, like we had Luke McGregor, who's a big comedian, Nazim Hussain, Dave O'Neill, bunch of other big, well-known and comedians who've been on TV and stuff, which is cool, like old TV shows and stuff.
Yeah, all sorts of radio hosts and anchors and stuff like that. How did they come about? Are they sliding into DMs or? We had
initially we had this show on YouTube that was interviewing it was interviewing musicians like Spacey Jane, Peking Duck, a few others I can't remember, All Rat, all them, and then All Day as well, the rapper All Day.
Yeah.
And then we just ended up filming sketches we filmed a sketch with All Day, blew up, and then we're like, we should film with more people. So we reached out to a couple of comedians like Luke McGregor and that. And then I think a few people, we just hung out with them as well. And we hung out with a few other people like, let's do a video. I'm like, yeah, cool, let's do that. So it was more natural, but then we started reaching out to them.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Well, it would be a great way to create connections and that kind of thing.
Yeah, well, they like it as well. It is good fun because they get to do something different. But yeah.
Yeah, and maybe even now there's connections with your stand-up stuff like that.
Yeah, well, I want to film with All Day again.
Yeah, okay.
And then stand up definitely.
Swag on the Beat started touring live performances, sold out venues and stuff like that. That must have been a massive change up. And it wasn't like a comedy routine, right? It was actually taking the sketches and putting them in front of a live.
Yeah.
How was that for you, that transition? And how do you prepare for that if you haven't done it before? If you're not from drama background, did you hire a rehearsal studio?
Yeah, we hired a bunch. We had so with Live Nation, and we had someone from Live Nation who was sort of a professional with like running shows, and he sort of showed us how to structure a show. But we basically wrote it. We took a year to write, so we wrote it all ourselves, and that was going on in the background whilst we were posting videos and that. So we're writing it up and sort of like, coming together and trying to plan it all. But we would hire, even like scout halls or like these old like places and just be like, let's try some stuff. We'd act it out, and then we'd hire some other rehearsal places. And then we also did 2 trial shows at like Comedy Republic in front of like 100 people. And that was right before the tour. We'd do like a trial show, then go away for a month, rewrite it, retry some stuff, then do another trial show.
Craft it depending on how the audience reacts type of thing.
Yeah, but we had people help. Like there was people help. Like Luke McGregor, big stand-up comedian. Yeah. He helped like come up with a couple ideas, help structure a little bit. All the writing was sort of to do with us, but it was just like, we had this other guy from Live Nation who was quite big, but he would be like helping with like, this is what you do. You enter the stage this way, take this chair off. These are the types of props that you use. This is what you do on the screen. It was just like more like, he's just like, this is how you structure a show. This is how you actually set up the things. And he's like, and we also had a sound guy who would do all the sound cues and the lighting cues. And there was like 150 of those. So,
and was that the brainchild of Live Nation, or why did you guys decide that's a good direction to go? Was it because that's more of a tangible way to make like income, or?
Yeah, it's more of a tangible and also enjoyable. It feels more real. I think Live Nation, I can't really remember if they hit us up or we hit them up, but I think even before hitting them up or they hit us up, we always wanted to do a live show. And like, that's the thing, like I love doing stand-up and then I love doing live stuff. I think that's more of an enjoyable, it's more real, and also definitely a way to make money. Like I feel like you just can't do ads or social media. You can't just do that. I feel like you have to do something else. Like you have to do a podcast or like, a live show. Like I know Auntie Donna, they make most of their living off touring, and they do a live show, and they've got a TV show. But I think selling tickets and doing theaters is a great way to make a decent income.
Okay, so you're touring at the peak of the powers with Swag on the Beat, and you've now gone your own separate way and pursuing stand-up comedy. Yeah, is there bad blood between you and the rest of the group, or
nah,
still,
not at all?
Okay,
no, we're fine. I just wanted to sort of pursue stand-up, and also like I think though, like I mentioned earlier, man, like. I think being an influencer or being a content creator is like, it's a lot. On my mind, it's so hard to like just care about likes and views and like, and doing that stuff. And I'm like, I just want to do it. I love doing stand-up. I want to do stand-up comedy. I want to try and make it big. I want to be a big stand-up. Yeah. And I like doing sketches myself, but I feel like now I can just do the sketches and that promotes selling the tickets, but I don't really care how the sketch comedy goes. But when I was with Swag, I really sort of struggled with, we post a video, and if it didn't go well, I'm like, man, that's the career done. I can't go back to teaching, man. Because that was the only thing when I was with Swag, I was like, man, our videos doing well is the success of it all.
It's everything.
That's the thing. Like if it bombs, if 2 or 3 videos did bad, and I feel like I was writing at the time, I was writing a lot of it. They would do the other roles like editing and that and help with the writing. But I was like, I felt when a video did bad, I think it was just me personally. I felt like it was my fault a bit. And I was just like, for my mental health, I'm like, I need to do stand up. I enjoy it more. I don't think I have the means or the build to be a content creator. Right. And I'm like, I want to be a big stand-up comedian anyway one day. So yeah, I think it was just hard doing that.
Okay.
But we left on good terms.
All right. So for the fans, is there any chance one day a cameo or something appearance?
Yeah, for sure. Like I don't know, man. But definitely. It's not off the cards.
So you're in stand-up comedy now. Has captured your heart. To me, it seems like a lot more work. There's touring and you're on the road and there's hecklers and that kind of thing. How do you go with hecklers? Have you experienced any of that yet?
Yeah, dude, I got a funny story because I just did the stand-up. I just did the comedy fest. I had this, my shows went great. There was a couple that were quieter, but they went great. But I had this girl so I went on a date with this girl. I'm going to hopefully post the video soon. I filmed it. I went on one date with this girl a year ago, right?
Wait, you didn't film the date, you filmed
No, I filmed this. Yeah, that would have probably been funnier. But I filmed the set, right? But what happened was this girl, I went on one date with her probably a year ago. And I was like, she's cool, probably not, gonna date, but she's a cool vibe. Let's be mates.
Yeah.
So we've been mates for a year. Like not close, but we've hung out with her mates. Anyway, she rocks up to my show, drunk, like late, drunk off 2 bottles of wine, heckles me for 2 hours, right? Like, or for an hour, but just heckles me like, and bringing up shit about like how like I'd say a bit on stage. I was transitioning into another joke and I was like, oh yeah, I'm someone who struggles being in relationships. I'm going to talk about my ex. I'm going to talk about it. And then she goes, I know that. She like bringing up, and then we got to talk about why we didn't date on stage, right? And it's fucking crazy. I ended up having to roast her, which is quite weird. Like I made fun of her and it went well, but it was quite weird. And then on video, I've got it. When she was so drunk, when she went to leave, she just fell over all of the chairs, just face planted on chairs.
I feel like there's a Seinfeld episode about it. Are you a Seinfeld
Yeah,
fan?
I've heard that. When I told someone that, they told me that, yeah, there was a Seinfeld episode where
someone starts heckling him. I can't remember if it's an ex or something, but that is bloody classic.
It's crazy. The other one, this is not really a heckle. It's just a weird situation that I didn't know how to react to. But early days, when I was still a swag on the beat, I was doing more open mics and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I used to do a bit, I just used to talk about like this story about cocaine and stuff. And I would start the bit off by asking a question in the crowd about, has anyone here done cocaine? And I remember I did this shit gig, open mic at the back of a bottle shop in St Kilda. It's really bad.
Oh yeah, I know the one on
Sal's, yeah. And there's 4 people in there, and I said, does anyone do cocaine? And this guy goes, yeah, I do, and I've got some on me now. And this is 100% true. I'm not just making it up. He started lining up 3 lines of cocaine, and the other 2 people got up and did the lines of cocaine, and I'm still just trying to do stand-up, just like waiting for them to finish the cocaine. I just like lost control of the whole room, like I was teaching again or something. I don't know.
Well, speaking of St Kilda, there's another one there. I think it might have been a different one. Could have been the same joint, but
it's probably the same one if it's a back of bottle shop.
True. I had a mate that was dating a comedian. So he's a guy, she's a girl.
Yeah.
And so she invited him along, and he brings me, and we're sitting right at the front. And he had never heard the set, mind you.
Yeah.
But she just like launches into like full on grilling him, throwing him under the bus. She was saying stuff like, she's like, I'm dating this guy, and over the last like 3 months, like he's a bit sensitive, he's a little bit precious, so I don't want to hurt his feelings. And let's just say I've like really fine-tuned my fake orgasm noises.
Holy
She's
fuck.
like, that's down pat. And I'm like looking at him and he's full in shock. And then
Who's the comedian? Can you tell me?
Oh, I can't remember her name. I'll get it to you.
Yeah.
This is a long time ago.
I probably know her.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Is she still doing it?
She was like, she goes, he loves posters. And I was thinking of getting him like a giant poster and it's like a map, but instead of a map of the city, it would be like how he can find his way to the clitoris. And I'm like,
not a bad joke.
Bro. It's a pretty funny joke, but I'm like, wouldn't you warn him or something? And his
that's crazy.
face, dude. So
did they still date after that?
I don't think it lasted very long. He fled the country. So
that's crazy.
That probably says something. So do you get involved with that? Like it's sort of a Matt Rife style thing where you're talking.
Yeah, I try to do a bit of crowd work. Yeah, I posted a bit of crowd work recently, but I feel like that's what people love, hey?
I suppose.
It gets the views. But yeah, I do a bit of crowd work, but I do bits as well. Like my show was 50 minutes at Comedy Fest. I probably did about 8 minutes of crowd work. And then
any sketches up there, like the Swag on the Beat style? Or?
No, I could do that eventually, but honestly, I just love stand-up, hey? Like, I don't know. I'm doing sketches on social media. I'm starting to get back into that again, but yeah.
I've noticed, it seems like, especially in the States, stand-up comedy is really like getting in its groove and taking off and becoming really big. Have you got any theories on why that could be? Like,
I don't know, man. It's pretty crazy. Like other countries, it's so, like I went to London. When we did our show in London, I went and watched stand-up and I did some stand-up. And man, people in London love stand-up. And same with New York and America. Like it's just like people live and breathe stand-up. It's like bigger than music. But in Australia, for some reason, it's not that big. I think, my theory is actually people in America, especially America, they worship celebrities. Where in Australia, they don't actually worship. Like celebrities are like, man, like fucking maths people or like Chappelle Corby, like people have done something insane and then people like obsessed with him, or even like Bob Catter saying stupid shit. People like love him. But I think people who are like big musicians or that, like people don't in Australia. Talent, people don't really actually like love it that much, It's quite weird. I don't know. It is.
Well, I have noticed actually that like I've been to bars and there's it says comedy routine or something, and there's like not many people coming. I was like, why? Surely if you've got an option of 5 different bars and one of them's bothered to put on comedy, like you may as well go there, but it doesn't seem to be the case. I've heard a theory floating around, which I subscribe to, I guess, is that because comedy movies with cancel culture and all that has affected, there's been no good comedy movies in the last sort of 10, 15 years because there's so much like on the line if you make a joke that people are offended by. But whereas if you're your own person, you don't have to do what the studios ask you to do, so you can kind of push the boundaries a little bit with your comedy routine. Yeah. I've heard that theory and I go, that kind of makes sense.
That makes a lot of sense because dude, that's why everyone now, like, that's why TV's getting so, even radio's dead, man. Like, that's why, I feel like that's why podcasts are huge because nobody's paying you. Like, you're like, I'm going to say, I'm going to be myself. I'm going to say, I'm going to edit how I want. Yeah. And that's why, same with content creation. It's like nobody's your boss. Therefore, you don't have to like, if you say something funny, like I'm putting that in. Whereas like you don't have to go to someone and be like, hey, this is going to do well. Can I put it in? And they go, oh, I don't know, maybe not. That's why I reckon like TV is so dead and like nobody watches TV. Nobody listens to radio. You listen to podcasts or music. I think that's an interesting thing. Yeah, for sure.
The advertising industry too. I used to do so much like ideas, creative work. By the time it goes through sort of 5 layers of different decision makers and then this is what's been approved. And you're like, the comedy's gone, the punchline's gone, everything's gone. Now there's just a product and a price. Yeah. Because it goes through so many different hands and it just gets like really, really, I don't know, watered down. But are you worried at all about cancel culture, or does your set not really sort of touch on that? Are you more of like you're not the physical kind of like baby reindeer, or are you more of a what's the deal with peanuts, sort of Jerry Seinfeld type operator?
I wouldn't say I'm not clean, but I don't go hard. Like I definitely swear. I'm not like a Jerry Seinfeld. I'll swear. I won't just go like clean stuff, but I'm not touching on like, I'm not talking about abortion laws or something. Like I'll go hard about my own stuff and like self-deprecate. No, I'll be like, yeah, this is definitely stuff they can't show on TV or radio or anything, but I'm not like trying to tackle crazy issues. No, not yet, at least. But no, I'm not too worried about, I'm not worried about, unless there's like nudes out there of me, that's all. But I'm not really worried about cancel culture.
Right, okay. From someone from like Northwest side, like sometimes they're like easy picking the people over there being so like, you know, progressive, like a lot of comedy, like especially Melbourne comedy, I think. Yeah. But I find it fascinating, the line between a funny person and a comedian really stems from like walking up on stage. And that first step, it does remind me of when I was chatting to Annie Knight. She was talking about the very first time she like posted a nude on her OnlyFans. Yeah. The very first time you go up on stage for a comedian must be, I don't know, it's terrifying in a way. But I suppose with you it was a bit of a soft launch because you were already doing the sketches. Well,
I used to get really nervous. And then I wouldn't get nervous after doing it. Like I'd do like 7 or 8 gigs a week for like a year or 2. And then I wouldn't get like, you do multiple in a night. And then I wouldn't get nervous. And then all of a sudden I started opening for my mate, Blake Pavey, and he would do like, and I'd do it like in front of like 50 people or 20 people. Yeah. And then I opened for him and he would do like, some shows were like 800 people or 900 people. And I was shit myself. Like if I did that, I rode for 8 weeks with him and like a few shows, I would throw up before it. Yeah. Okay. A couple of times, I happened twice. And that would be nerve-wracking. And then all of a sudden after doing that, you'd get less nervous. Yeah, okay. And then after that would be fine. And then now I get nervous doing 50 minutes. And then after, like I did 11 shows at Comedy Fest and after 6, I wasn't really that nervous anymore.
So it's like a new sort of hill and once you reach there, it flattens out. And
you just keep pushing yourself. But like now when I do 5 minutes or 10 minutes, like I'll do something, I don't get nervous at all. Right. But if you asked me that a year ago, I got nervous every set. Yeah, okay. It's just, you just get used to it, I guess. And if you stop doing it, then it comes back.
Did you say you've got one tonight or something?
Yeah.
Oh, right. Okay. Where's that?
It'll be an okay one. It's in it's in Brunswick.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I used to tell my friends like, we should go pick a day, give ourselves plenty of time, 3 months time, put together a set, go up there in front of each other. Yeah. They all bitched out.
Really?
And like everyone's too, some of them I am not doing. These guys will do all sorts of stunts on motorbikes and all this crazy stuff you've got to be super brave for. But when it came to doing a stand-up open mic, couldn't do it, couldn't convince them to do it.
It's weird. Like it's weird like that. Hey, I don't get that either. It's not that bad. You're fine. Like it's fine.
So, and your advice to people considering it is to just give it a crack and start small, like.
Well, my advice to people was like, if you're worried about bombing, go to an open mic. Everyone else will bomb anyway. Like everyone's gonna bomb. Like if you go to an open mic that's bad like that one in St Kilda, like literally like half of the acts will bomb. Probably more, probably like 80%. So it's like it's so fine. Like, bro, if you bomb, you'll be the same as everyone else.
Okay, so just get going.
Yeah, just do it. It's fine.
And with the, I was earlier, I told you about how my friend was seeing the girl who kind of like threw shade on his.
Yeah.
Have you found that your personal life, your family, friends have like found their way into your sets when you do comedy?
For sure, yeah. Actually, something funny with that is I used to date a comedian.
Okay.
And we both would talk about like each other on stage, and that was fucking weird.
And you did the same events together?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, I can't remember what it was, but and it's weird seeing her go up on stage and talk about me. It's like, man, what the fuck? But like, yeah, that is a weird thing. Like I and my parents came to my show this year, and they would see me talk about them. Like, oh, it is weird. And like saying, yeah, it's weird how much you definitely base bits and jokes off stories that have happened to you, and then you sort of, you know, make it more absurd or make up the ending a bit. But yeah, for sure.
Yeah, sweet. All right. And now that you're solo, you've left Swag on the Beat, you're getting back into the sketch and the videos, and you're going to continue that, or is that going to be sort of phased out over time?
I mean, like, I do like doing it, but honestly, so I've been collaborating with a few people. A few have gone pretty viral, but I want to post stand up, and I want that to blow up a bit, and I want to be like a big stand up comedian. I posted a few of my stand up clips have gone viral, but I'm trying. I'll probably do less sketches and more stand up.
Yeah, okay. So you really love it, like it's
sick,
yeah. And have you always had that passion, or is it sort of just?
I think so, but I never thought I could do it until Swag started doing well. But yeah, I just honestly, I just want to be a full time stand up comedian, which I'm slowly getting there. I reckon another year or two I'll be there. But yeah.
Oh well. Yeah. Well, kudos to you, dude. Like, it's bold, and you've accomplished so much with Swag on the Beat, and you've built like that really solid platform. That's amazing. So hopefully it's all up from here, and I'll be like keen to see where it goes.
Thanks.
But that's a wrap from me, man. Unless you've got anything you want to plug or anything like that, then
I'm going to tour next year.
Yeah,
but I don't know when yet. So we'll see how we go. Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks so much, man.
I appreciate that. Cheers. Thank you. Cheers.